A series of odd markings on a clay tablet from thousands of years ago reveal the details of historical exchange. But this isn't just a regular receipt. A word that stands out from the other words is formed in one corner by a pair of symbols. The name may also be the oldest one ever found in records. Let's look deeply at the experts who may have located the oldest name in existence, and it's catching many off guard. Names likely originated in the region where Adam, the first human, was created. According to the Christian Bible, the Hebrew word for man, Adam, was given a name by God. Adam, who gave names to all the animals created, was likely the first pet name given, dating back a very long time. When Adam and Eve had children, they began giving their sons and daughters names based on those traits. In Hebrew, Cain denotes acquired, while Abel denotes breath. Other names that were used in the past included patronyms, matronyms, and names derived from the names of the father or the mother. But if you've ever wondered what Og and Thak, those cavemen characters in Gary Larson's comic strips, call each other, or if they even have names or a term of endearment, you probably have. The idea of people who live in caves is more idealized than the reality of early historical hunters. According to the origins of language, early Homo sapiens adapted to the sounds they were hearing and eventually created words from the sounds they made. Communities started creating names probably to set themselves apart from one another when their populations started to double. Since the first humans diverged from Homo heidelbergensis and left Africa, it's likely that they've been addressing one another by name for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. Because there was no way to record sounds then, we could not reconstruct the original pronunciation of these early names. Around 5,500 years ago, writing first appeared on the scene in ancient Mesopotamia. This was a very late development in the history of humans. The Sumerians were the first people to devise a writing method to record information. It was given the name cuneiform and consisted of a combination of pictorials and symbols that were used to record factual and numerical information like business transactions. Traditional Chinese characters from the early days of China were discovered on the shards of broken pots that were discovered in 1999 in Henan, China. The pottery fragments were dated between 6600 and 6200 BC. The symbols on these broken pieces of jars weren't the characters in use at the time. It was a distinctive mark that most likely originated with the first Chinese character, also known as the Oracle Bone Script. These personally created symbols were somewhat more similar to a Chinese character that is read as I and sun or day. For instance, on this clay tablet measuring 3 inches by 3 inches, which was discovered in the ancient city of Uruk in Sumer and dating back 3,100 years, a transaction involving barley is depicted using the following pictograms. A sheaf of barley is located in the exact middle of the bottom of the tablet. A brick structure with a chimney can be found to the left of it, and it most likely houses a brewery. To its left is a sheaf that was previously outside of a vessel but is now contained within one, to show that the barley is going to be turned into beer. The amount that is involved is indicated in the box that is located above the picture. The period being discussed can be found to the left, denoted by 3 circular holes and 7 smaller depressions. When everything is considered together, the record most likely states 29,086 measures of barley were received over the course of 37 months. In the upper left corner, above the vessel that contains the sheaf of barley, there are 2 symbols, each of which has a well-known representative sound. Still, the meaning of both of these symbols, when combined, is being determined. Putting the two together results in the word Kushim. Based on their location at the end of the sentence, it has been hypothesized that Kushim is a name, specifically the name of the individual or accountant who was in charge of receiving this barley. If this is the case, then Kushim might be the first name we remember from historical records. Nevertheless, Kushim may not have been the actual name of the person, but rather the title of an office holder or a profession, rather than the name of a person. Because the cuneiform characters ku and im were not presented with much context, it's difficult to determine whether such sign combinations denote a person, the person's office, or even an entire institution. The name Kushim is spelled out on a total of 18 different tablets that date back to this time period. He was likely in charge of the production as well as the storage of barley. On some of these tablets, the distribution of barley to a number of officials is recorded as several separate debits. The tally of these debits is presented as a single credit on the opposite side of the tablet, representing the release of Kushim from his obligation. On the obverse of a relatively straightforward account, different quantities of barley are shown to have been charged to 3 different officials. At the same time, on the reverse, Kushim is given credit for the overall quantity of barley that was distributed to these officials. On the other hand, the opposite interpretation could be taken as Kushim's version of events. Other tablets are more intricate and show the input of various ingredients on the obverse, like malt or hops, while showing different kinds of beer as the output on the reverse side of the tablet. On one of the tablets, it is written that Kushim gave 14,712 liters of barley to 4 officials. As a result, those officials were given their proper discharges. Tablets dating back to the same period as the Kushim tablet were discovered in the ancient city of Shuruppak, which is today known as Jemdet Nasser in Iraq. These tablets are one of the candidates for the title of having the world's oldest name. In spite of the fact that it is thought that this tablet is at least a generation or 2 younger than the Kushim tablet, the writing on this tablet is clear. The names Enpap X and Sukalgir are written on the tablet after the phrase 2 slaves held by Gal Sal. The inscription on the tablet begins with those words. Therefore, the world's oldest names that we are aware of belong not to some great conqueror or prophet, but to common people, an accountant, a slave owner, and some slaves. Egyptian hieroglyphics contain the vast majority of the world's most well-known and historically significant ancient names. The earliest forms of writing in Egypt were called hieroglyphics, and they were also referred to as the sacred writings of the Egyptians. Reading and writing the language's approximately 1,000 characters is a privilege reserved for those who belong to the higher social classes, such as the pharaoh, the priests, and nobles. The earliest known name of a powerful person is from 32 BC Egypt. He lived at the same time as Kushim and Gal Sal. During pre-dynastic times, Eri-Hor ruled Upper Egypt. Eri-Hor ruled from Hierakonpolis over Abydos and the Thinite region, and Egypt as far north as Memphis. Egyptologists believe Eri-Hor ruled the Nile Delta. When Eri-Hor was discovered, some Egyptologists didn't believe he was a king. This is because Eri-Hor's name had never appeared in a serek, a facade surrounding royal names in Egypt. Eri-Hor's existence was established by the discovery of his tomb in Abydos and clay vessels and pottery jars bearing his name. The conclusive evidence was found in 2012 in an inscription in Sinai. This inscription shows his pictograph on a boat next to Inebu Hedij, the ancient name of Memphis. Eri-Hor may be Egypt's oldest king, predating the dynastic pharaohs who followed him. The vessel in which the pharaoh's name, Ka, was found to have been written. Another Egyptian pharaoh, Ka, also known as the Second, succeeded his predecessor Irihor as ruler of Egypt. In the year 1902, the tomb of Ka and the other artifacts bearing his name were discovered. The tomb was estimated to have been constructed around 3200 BC. Despite the fact that the real pronunciation of Ka's name is still unknown, another name for him that was read as Seken was discovered around the vessels that bore Ka's Serek, which is a significant crest that bears a royal title. Although King Scorpion, or Scorpion II of Nekhen, Egypt, is mentioned in numerous Egyptian artifacts that date between 3200 and 3000 BC, the location of his tomb is still unknown. King Scorpion, who caused controversy in modern Egyptology, succeeded Ka as the supreme leader. While some Egyptologists think this was just another name for the pharaoh Narmer, who ruled around 3100 BC, others think Narmer and King Scorpion were two distinct rulers. Narmer was the pharaoh who ruled Egypt between the years 3150 BCE and 3100 BCE. Like all other pharaohs, his name was discovered on various Egyptian artifacts, most notably on the Narmer palette, also known as the Great Hierakonpolis palette. According to what was depicted on this palette, Narmer was the king who was responsible for unifying Lower and Upper Egypt. A piece of alabaster with the name of Queen Neithhotep was carved into it. The artifacts that bore the name Neithhotep were determined to have been created between 3150 and 3125 BCE. Her enormous mastaba, which refers to a tomb in ancient Egypt, indicates that she was one of the first Egyptian women to attain a higher rank or level of significance. Before now, many Egyptologists believed Neithhotep was a previously unidentified king of ancient Egypt. In spite of this, through the development of the study of ancient Egyptian writings, they discovered that Neithhotep was a woman of high rank in Egyptian society. The fact that people still use the name Kushim in Russia, Uzbekistan, and Ukraine are one of the name's most fascinating characteristics. According to Forebears, Kushim is the 2,168,711th most common surname in the world. It is held by approximately one person in every 95 million people. Additionally, Kushim is the 910,230th most popular first name in the whole wide world. That's it for today. What do you think of the video? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this one, be sure to like it and hit the subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.